Hello, boys and girls. Happy Saturday. It's 3 points. At some point, though, we need to put in some better performances. There was some good, there was some bad, and then there was some damn right ugly. It's Burnley v Arsenal's post-game player rating show. Let's go.
Mind the gap between the train and the platform. Please stand clear of the discussion doors. The next stop is Highbury Squad.
The old 1-0 to the Arsenal is back. I have to say that I'm not disappointed about that. A win is a win. 3 points against Burnley. We don't really like going to Turf Moor. Last season, Xhaka decided to be an idiot and fall again and get sent off. So the fact that we've walked off with those 3 points, let's just start off with the positive, that is the best news of the day. I would also like to welcome each and every one of you to the chat. Happy with the win, says John. Not an easy game. Good evening to everybody. Squaddies at ease. Not going to lie, I kind of threw this outfit together today. Didn't really think about it too much. Not sure if you guys have. It's not baggy enough, this beanie. Needs to be a bit baggy so I don't look like, I'm a baldy. But anyway, I think that's the least of our worries, isn't it? Kiss the badge, everyone. Lovely jubbly. We won a game. Thanks, Aston. I love these socks as well. By the way, the stripy socks. Kalimera, my sound. Tiganis, Buise. Για πες μας λίγα ελληνικά. Ευχαριστώ πάρα πολύ. Listen, thanks, guys. I thought I put an Arsenal shirt on. Here's the scoop. You want to know a secret? I never, ever wear Arsenal merch when we play. Ever. And I'm not sure if I've shared this story with you before, but it stems from the Champions League final in Paris. I mean, I looked like the club threw up on me that day. And since then, I have never, ever worn a piece of, I don't even wear red on the day that we play. Yeah, I know. It's not, it's a laundry day. Demian, fantastic. Okay, let's get stuck into it. You guys are my co-host today. Kev is on a train somewhere in England. Mr. Mysterious, Super Kevin Campbell. Where is he? Where's he off to? What's he up to? What's he doing? Truth is, he's somewhere on a train. And, you will hear from him on Monday for sure. He may jump in if he can at some point. But if he doesn't, just know that all the tactical talk will come where Kev is back on Monday. Listen, Tears, maybe you should, since I know. You know what? You have a good point. Does Tears have a good point? Should I actually start wearing Arsenal paraphernalia? Because ever since I stopped, we've actually regressed. So this could be a really good idea. All right. Matthew Hudson, happy birthday to you. The team got a birthday win for you. That's a really, really good, birthday gift. It doesn't get much better than that. 230 of you in live chat with me right now. You guys are my co-hosts today. I'm going to try and get to as many of your comments as possible. So let's just kick it all off. Before I do, listen, 2 wins on the trot, 2 1-0s old school, 1-0 to the Arsenal. Look, I'm not overly excited. I'm not super happy, and I'm going to tell you why. But 3 points is 3 points. And next we've got the League Cup. And then we've got the scumbags down the road and the North London derby. There's no better way going into a North London derby than having 6 points under your bag. Okay, they've got to play Chelsea tomorrow and then they play us. So they could lose their next 2. And then before you know it, boom, we're on equal points again and the Arsenal are traipsing back up that table. So for Vinny, hit that like button. If you hate the Spurs, hit that like button. If you hate the Spurs, let's get stuck into the game today. I want to start with something that is really important, right? And stick with me here, you guys. I think it's really important that we support our new players. I'm not saying that we should enable them. I'm not saying that they should get a pass. I'm not saying that they are immune to criticism. But I do feel that Ben White didn't have a great game. I've come out to bat for him. And actually last week, on Lee Judge's channel, I said that there's no reason why he can't at some point be as good as Harry Maguire or John Stones, right? Now, those other two players have had the honor and the privilege to play with more world-class players around them, whether it's in their club squad or for England. And when you sign for the Arsenal, Kevin Campbell has told you this many times, that that badge does weigh heavy, okay? And we've seen it with Nicola Pepe, Arsenal's most expensive signing ever, 72 million. That comes with an insurmountable amount of pressure. Whether you guys like it or not, whether we agree on this or not, it's really difficult. I've felt pressure, taking a VP of PR job at, a big film company, going in, needing to get results, needing to get coverage, needing to get, Angelina Jolie on the front cover of a magazine for a movie, needing to make sure that, Guy Ritchie's next film doesn't tank, and you got to make it as loud as you can from an awareness PR point of view. Everybody in all walks of life feels pressure. You know what pressure is? A surgeon going into surgery and having to save someone's life every single day. But it's all relative, right? Because we're all dealing with different types of pressure. And I know that you're saying, GB, Ben White is showing you that he's not a very good defender. Sorry, Sophie, the evidence thus far is he's poor, soft in the air, limited with his decision-making. Okay, let's just stop for a second and take a deep breath, because we live in an instant gratification universe. We want results now. We want greatness now. We want everything now. Whether it's our players, our manager, whether it's, people on Instagram. People forget about hard graft and work, and that it's a journey and it takes time. Not everything happens overnight. When people say, oh, they're an overnight sensation, not really. You have no idea the hard graft and work people have put in. Ben White was one of the single reasons Leeds United under Marcelo Bielsa were promoted from the Championship. He was also one of the reasons why Brighton were able to do some of the things they did and avoided relegation last season. And it's a very small sample size. Well said, Thunder Road. And Rancid, I would judge him, but not after 3 games. I mean, he was decent last week. For some reason, this week he shrunk. And Double Ducky, he won 4 of his 5 aerial duels today. And yes, he has been absolutely vilified for his lack of aerial prowess, right? But I think we need to just take a beat. And yes, the shocking back pass was awful. And I think one of the things that is key here is that Saliba's situation is now becoming Ben White's problem. And I'm just going to ask us all to try and do one thing, especially when we're conversing on this show, is let's not make the Saliba problem with Arteta and the club Ben White's problem. Because that's an ugly road to go down. Number one, you've only seen Saliba in a shirt competitively for about 20, 30 minutes. So we actually don't know how he would perform against Burnley. We know what we see based on what we see in Liga. And we'll talk to Chris again about this on our Le Provence squad next week. But Ben White's signed for the club of his dream. He's wearing the Arsenal badge and he costs more than anyone this summer. That comes with pressure, right? And today, I think he looked awful because, all right, Gabriel is an established player in the side now. He plays with confidence. If I remember correctly, also after COVID, people were going at Gabriel saying, oh, he's not the same player. His positioning is off. Let's just take a deep breath. Because it's so glaring when you make those mistakes as a £50 million player. And we haven't seen enough of him yet. And if you talk to Leeds United fans, if you talk to Brighton fans, even Josh, the tactical squad Josh, has said, he's got a season ticket to Brighton. He watched Ben White play as much as he could, during last season. And I think that in a time like this, if you're going to kill Ben White for being poor at the back for you today, then I suggest your criticism should be as loud for ESR, Emil Smith-Rowe, for playing with really a lackluster energy. His passing was off. His positioning was off. Saka, again, not the Saka that we know. End ball was poor. Both of them, again, had chances to score. They didn't do that. Aubameyang kind of went AWOL. The final third for Pepe, the passing, all of it was poor. So, Venkatesh, yes, Sophie, the final pass was so poor. Can't blame Arteta for today. We at least had... I haven't even gotten to Arteta yet. Pepe was poor. Saka was non-existent. And remember, on yesterday's show, you guys, I said that we've got to be really careful about mollycoddling Saka especially, and because he is shining for England. And I said, he doesn't look tired when he plays for England, doesn't get criticised when he plays for England, but yeah, he comes back to to Arsenal, Spurs. Oh my God. And it's because I'm thinking about them already, you guys. Tick tock. The North London derby clock is going in the back of my mind. He's just, for me, I don't want him to become this unicorn mascot that just is pampered and everyone thinks like, oh, he's a lovely boy, and he is. He's a footballer for the Arsenal Football Club. Hopefully he's the future of the Arsenal Football Club. And I loved the substitution when Emil Smith-Rowe came off for Sambi, and I would have subbed Saka earlier too. So I also think maybe Emil Smith-Rowe isn't used to playing with Odegaard yet. It's almost like Odegaard is playing this number 8 role. The way it was set up today as well, he was picking up the ball much deeper. And I tell you something, I loved it. He's so smart as a footballer. And I just think that there were times today where Emil Smith-Rowe and Saka were not on the same page as him. Like when Ozil was in his prime and he'd make passes and sometimes you'd be like, oh man, why couldn't they read that? Why couldn't they see that? And, a lot of people screamed about signing Odegaard and wanted Maddison, but I hope you guys have seen the quality and leadership that he can bring to the table as well. So, yes, I want to focus on some positives right now, but I also want to say that if you're going to criticize Ben White for his performance, I think you have to be as loud in your criticism for Aubameyang, who went AWOL again in this game. He just wasn't there. You could argue that the final ball wasn't as good as the game against Norwich, but he didn't insert himself into the game today, I thought, Aubameyang. He didn't make himself as much of a nuisance as he did against Norwich. It felt like at times, even when the ball was played to him, where he shifted gears and went out onto the flanks, it felt like he was just waiting for someone to come and then pass it back. It didn't feel like he was trying to move the ball forward, create something, take on a player. It was pedestrian at best. So yeah, name block. Pepe and Saka, worst players on the pitch. Miss West Lower says maybe Emil Smith-Rowe isn't completely over his illness. Look, there's 500 of you in live chat right now. And so let's just go through the squad and the players and you guys can let me know. I'm going to put up some of your comments first. Let's do this. Vuk Valcic, White needs to grow into pressure he feels because of the transfer fee and playing for a great club. Give him time. He will be great. Look, I agree with you. I think that, he's under the most pressure than any other player. All players are under pressure when they play for the Arsenal, but he's under a lot of pressure because of that price tag. And he needs to impose himself. Well, that's Aubameyang, but I think also with Ben White, he just needs to get over himself a little bit. When you get into your head too much, we saw that with Pepe, it doesn't help you and it hinders you. And I think today, we saw that a little bit. Lone Star says, if only ESR could finish. We were resolute, didn't concede, lacked a bit of quality. Yeah, I mean, the goal from Odegaard saved us. Ramsdale, confident. Gabriel, immense. Demsek says we had 3 plays on it today. Ramsdale, Odegaard, Tomiyasu. I would also add Gabriel to that. Tang says Auba didn't put himself in a position to receive the ball in the box. You know what? I agree with you, Tang, because last week it felt like he was in the right place at the right time doing all of the good things. And even when he didn't have the ball last week, it felt like he was hustling. He was working harder. He didn't show too much apathy like we've seen. He was engaged. Now, this is, I think, the issue that a lot of people have with Auba is that this inconsistency. When is he going to turn up? When is he going to show up? And it would have been great for him to get a goal today. And unfortunately, our final passing, our final touches in that final third were just really, really poor. Yonik says, Ains and Lokonga with decent cameos today, Partey playing as a lone pivot. Who would have thought? And we got away with it, I think. But it caught up with us in the second half. There was more pressure. They were pounding us in that area. They were hitting the over-the-top balls early. And I just feel like we kind of got away with that a little bit. I'm not sure if you guys agree. Okay. Abdul says Saka needed a rest, taking off. It's so funny. When he plays for England, no one thinks he's tired or needs a rest. Why is that? I don't understand. I mean, sometimes it's obvious, like, you know, you have better players around you with England, but this isn't a bad team. I'm not sure we can keep making those excuses. Javier, you guys have to realize now that Saka has been a Premier level player with fame. Players pay extra attention now to him and more physical. He gets fouled the most of the team. Well, it was his foul that led to Odegaard scoring that wonder goal, wasn't it? All right, let's get into it. Arteta is an attacker killer. You know, if it wasn't for Odegaard's goal today, how many chances, how many chances did we really have that were threatening? How many? I don't think we had too many, And I think that's the problem. But also the manner in which that we just can't. We had 13 shots, they had 18 shots. We had 3 shots on target, they had 3. Possession 56 to us, 44 to them. 522 passes to their 385. Our pass accuracy was 80%. We conceded 8 fouls, got a yellow card. So it's not like we didn't have the ball. I think he had more than one bad touch. And I'm not being too critical. I'm being honest. Saka was poor today. Emile Smith-Rowe was poor today. Aubameyang was poor today. And Pepe was poor but had moments. Emile Smith-Rowe could have scored. We've talked on this show so much about them burying chances when they're given those chances. And we won 1-0. And that's what matters, is the 3 points at this point. But at some point, you also have to start putting in better performances. And I agree, Saka hasn't played well in 5 games. We're inviting too much pressure, awful in possession, slow progression, awful to watch. K-Man, 100%. In the second half, we invited all the pressure and we took a risk. And it paid off. 1-0 to the Arsenal. Nick says Saka progressed the ball from midfield to attack better than anyone else. Way too harsh. Did he? I think he tried, but I think there were moments once again where his final decision-making let him down. James Johnson says Saka has looked knackered all season. I don't know if it's physical as well as emotional fatigue from the Euros. Yet, James, he never looks tired when he's playing for England. And the whole attack wasn't flowing, Joe. You're absolutely right. Now, I'm happy that we were able to get this win. I did not have high hopes for this match. I thought that we'd lose 2-1. In the end, I went for a 2-2. We won 1-0. And Darren, you're right. Winning is all that matters. Performance only matters when you lose. Well, no, you know what? Now we need to start performing, because against Tottenham, it's going to be a little bit different, isn't it? They have much more. Whether we like it or not, their quality is superior to Norwich and it's superior to Burnley. So we've had 2 games where this new team has come together and we've gotten a little bit lucky because we've been able to adjust, right? Against better opposition, those counterattacks are going to be much more threatening. They're going to be much more glaring. You're not going to be able to play solo Thomas Partey in midfield. You're not going to be able to do those things. And I'll tell you something else. He did give the ball on a plate, MK, but there was a chance in the second half where he passed it short to Aubameyang and we could have scored. And it didn't quite happen. So against better opposition, you guys, we're going to need more. And let's be honest, we scraped through Norwich. We scraped through this game. We've got a League Cup game midweek, and then we've got the North London derby. And I'm not sure if it gets us battered by the Spuds name blocked, but it's not good. I think we're going to need something a little bit more. Andy says it's worrying that we had so many players off their game. We won't get away with that very often. Laka gets more involved. See, I would have brought Laka on in this match. Holds the ball up better, can connect. Kev always says too that he's our best opportunity as a number 9. What he does off the ball really matters and counts too. And I just think that Aubameyang had one of those apathetic games today. Just wasn't quite in it. Jilted John says, takes the positive, too much negativity, building blocks one step at a time, winning breeds confidence. Not too much negativity here other than if we're going to criticize Ben White for his performance, I think we also have to criticize Aubameyang, Saka, Emile Smith-Rowe and Pepe in some regards. Okay, let's get to the player ratings. And if you guys get any quotes from Mr. Mikel Arteta, please put them in chat and I will put them up. 641 of you. Right now, Kev would put this out and he'd say, I'm going to Bruk some next. I need at least half of those being likes. I'll get the samurai sword out, of course. It's a shame that our forward line couldn't do a little bit more of this. And Vinny is asking you very kindly, if you hate Tottenham and you want them to lose to Chelsea tomorrow, unfortunately, it's not a game both teams can lose. But if we're going to pick a team to lose, it's always going to be Tottenham. So hit that like button for the Vinster. Ramsdale, let's talk about it. He's beyond solid. Now, I feared that when that decision was made to give the penalty, I was like, I pray right now that it's not going to end up being a situation where everyone starts ripping Ramsdale to shreds. Because in fact, what he did was save his teammate, didn't he? He was confident. He was vocal. He was commanding. I love the risks he takes when he comes out of his box to kick the ball away. He's assertive. He's really now developed into, for me, the starter. And I thought that at the beginning of the season as well. But the other thing, too, that's really incredible is 2 clean sheets. The confidence. So I understand as bad as Ben White was, right? Gabriel helped him out. But Ramsdale had some moments where, he just collects the ball. He's commanding. The back 4, you can tell they really trust him. And you're seeing that evolution. He feels comfortable in an Arsenal shirt. And I think that the difference between him and Ben White is Ben White does not feel comfortable in an Arsenal shirt just yet. And that's the issue. Some people just soak up the pressure real easy. It doesn't bother them. I felt like I've seen that with Saka and Emile Smith-Rowe when the team depended on them so much last season. And you see that with Ramsdale as well. There's just something about him that he plays fearless football. And I think that I'm going to put your comments up right now because you're loving it. And I don't want to focus on what people said when we signed certain players anymore. I said my piece about Ramsdale last week. And raved about him. And I don't think it's fair to call each other out and say, you said we shouldn't have signed this player. You said he'd be useless. You said he'd do this and that. The point is that the players who are on the pitch, we support them. And I think if we can just focus on that going forward versus, oh, Maddison wouldn't have scored that. Odegaard did. Leno wouldn't have saved that. Ramsdale did. Emi Martinez would have done this, X, Y, and Z. Oh, Xhaka's this, but, Sambi or Partey are that. I think that this is developing into a team that is probably one of the better teams that we've seen over the last 2 or 3 seasons. And if the manager can kind of keep this going and build this, I think it's important too that you come away from this without conceding at the end, that you come away from this, even though you were under the cosh, you were under the pressure, you invited that pressure, you welcomed it, you soaked it up, you walk away with a 1-0 win. I think that's massive. And I think a lot of us would be really happy with more 1-0s to the Arsenal. But at the same time, I do think, as I said earlier, at some point we're going to have to put in better performances, more commanding performances, because we're going to face better teams. So Javier says Ramsdale looked like he's enjoying playing at the back, while Leno looks like he's already looking to move out. Martin says Ramsdale's the new Martinez without the chip on his shoulder. Well, I like that. Dimitri gives him an 8.5. BX Gunner, it's evident Arteta is building from the back. We're at midfield now, then striker next. It's painful to watch, but it'll come together. Well, something's got to change up front, that's for sure. Boy says Ramsdale's living the dream. He's playing for the Arsenal. He can't believe it. Best believe he's not going to let a goal through easily. Oceana says Ramsdale is the new Seaman. High praise. Maybe we have to wait for that one. Sid, that's Ramsdale game. No complaints. So he's getting, he's getting a lot of love from everybody. Enjoy the win. Enjoy the weekend, squaddies. Yes. Let's say, wow, big praise. Well, you know what? I think Ramsdale deserves it. Loving your outfit. TY would be over the moon. Oh, okay. That's cool. I don't usually wear swag. I decided to do that today. It's got to be Ratchet. It's got to be Ramsdale all the way now for the NLD, 100%. Why on earth would you? Okay, you just stopped me in my tracks now. Arteta cannot bring Xhaka back for that game and bring Leno back for that game. This is where he will lose all credibility. And Venkatesh, there's no agenda against Leno. He saved us many, many times. But when a player is so vocal that says he wants to leave and he wants to move, I'm sorry, I'm tired of those Arsenal players being given a chance over and over again. Ozil in and out, Mustafi in and out, Sokratis in and out, Kolasinac in and out. You want to play for the Arsenal, wear the shirt, wear it proudly. We get behind you. No more Leno. Leno only comes in now if Ramsdale has an injury. And, Arteta better not screw this up. He best not bring in Xhaka and Leno for the North London derby. That would be terrible. I hope not. I really hope not. We're going to talk about that in the week. We'll get there eventually. Let's just get through this game first. Midfield of Partey and Lokonga will quality against tougher opposition. They'll raise the level of the side. I like it. I was happy to see him come on so we could see that partnership. Even though Partey didn't have as many forward kind of cutthroat passes as he did in that 20 minutes when he just came on for Norwich, the way he connects the team, the things that he does is really quite impressive. So let's move to, can we talk about Kieran Tierney, you guys? Okay, let's talk about Kieran Tierney for a bit. You're going to criticize Ben White. You got to criticize Saka and Emile Smith-Rowe Auba today. And for me, Tierney again. What has happened to Kieran Tierney? This is what worries me about certain players at the club maybe regressing. So there's a lot of positives to take from today because you can see certain players are rising to the occasion. And then you see like Tavares come on and the guy plays fearless. He's not afraid. He's taking shots. He's moving the ball. I think, look, I'm not going to go overly over, right? But I'm just going to say that Tierney needs to be a bit careful because a few more performances like this, there's no Ozil syndrome anymore. You don't just get to play because of the name and number on the back of your shirt. You just can't do that. And I'm not sure what it is. And I think there's too much pressure on Tierney because Arteta wants to play through him so much. So he's in this kind of no man's land sometimes and he gets caught at the back because he's forced at times to play so far up the pitch, and his crossing's been off. He doesn't seem to have that tenacity to take on the player. There's something that looks off, and maybe he's exhausted. And maybe James, when he does run, he needs to make those runs. I hear you. Tierney runs his socks off today, but put the crosses in. They just don't have that forward, sadly. If we got Tammy in the summer, totally agree with you on that front. But I'm sorry, when you know we don't have a Tammy, and you saw us put in 1,555 crosses last season and score from like 2 of them, at some point you have to be willing to play through the middle a little bit more, which I think we can do now with the talent of Odegaard and the calmness that he brings to the table and what he does when he has the ball. He puts the fear of God into the opposition when he has the ball, because they don't know what they're going to do with it. You know? D-Max says, what's happened, Sophie, is we're too predictable. I agree. I agree with that. And I think that sets up certain players to fail because there's no unexpected. You know, we're kind of just doing the same thing over and over again and looking for different results. And maybe because of the Euros, he needs a rest too. I know Scotland didn't go as far as England, but he's also played a lot of football and he suffers from injuries. So we're going to find out today why he came off as well. But a little bit concerned about Tierney, and I hope that this is a spell that he's going to come out of, especially as he's playing alongside, you know, Ben White, Gabriel, and Tomiyasu. So let's talk about, let's move on from what my mark for Tierney, I think today is a 5.5. I'm not going to blow sunshine up his ass just because he holds a Tesco bag and is a Braveheart, you know. And I'm glad too. I think we've got a good understudy. So I just expect a little bit more from him. And I think mentally he seems a bit checked out at certain points in the game where he's always been in it, roaring. You know, there's something a little bit off. And I hope that he finds like that magical form that made us all fall in love with him so soon. So let's see. Tierney 5 from Newman. Made a great defensive contribution. Okay. I mean, 1, 2. Just because you run, you know, doesn't mean that that's resulting in effectiveness and helping the side. It has to be an end product to it. And I think, you know, for Tierney, he just needs to be a little bit careful. Like, there's buying into the hype, right? I think that's Saka, Emil Smith-Rowe and Tierney. They're not immune to criticism. And today I thought he had a really, really poor game. All right, so what about Gabriel? Let's talk about Gabriel. Wow. Brilliant. Split. Man of the match is split for me between him and Ramsdale. Ramsdale for me gets a 9. Tierney gets a 5. Ben White gets a 5. Gabriel gets a 9. He is exactly the kind of player that we've missed. He's the player that we saw before he was taken with COVID. He is aerially a monster. He makes up for what his defensive partners do not do. I think he'll eventually have goals in him on set pieces. He'll work his way positionally much more effectively in those types of situations. But my goodness, how many second balls did he pick up today? He was really, really impressive. And I'm going to put your comments up here on him as well. Tia says everyone should get a 5 or 6 except Ramsdale, Partey, Odegaard, Gabriel, maybe Tommy. You're getting close there. 9.5 for Gabriel. 9's here. 8.5. 9. He played like a boss. He really did. He played like an utter boss. And, you know, he saved his teammates along the way as well. And you know what? We need a play like that. We really, really do. So for me also, I think we had 2 men of the match. Gabriel was mustard. Gabriel was our star. Gabriel top performance. Ramsdale man of the match. Imperious. 9s, 8s. I mean 10s, 9s. He was beastly. And he was absolutely everywhere. 100%. He was colossal. And I think that it's important for us to have a player like him. He's become our most important backline player now, hasn't he? He's someone that we can't afford to miss out on. He's someone that's going to be imposing. He builds confidence in Ramsdale. I think the two of them have a good connection. I love how they're both vocal. They both just scream and shout throughout the game, and we've really lacked that over the last few seasons. So I kind of like that they put themselves about and they point fingers, and I think that's something that we've really, really needed. So yes, Gabby was great. I think we're all in agreement on that. Levels above everybody else. Man of the match, Gabriel or Ramsdale for man of the match. It's consistent, you guys. See, we are being positive. There are some things to be positive. Hey, Rich, how's it going? Hope it's not too much of a hot night in Turkey. It was definitely a lukewarm day in Burnley, but we got the result, and that's the most important thing. Listen, what's wrong with you? If people want to give 10s and 9s, it's not a FIFA generation. You know, we skew a little bit older than that, but we do have a lot of younger listeners too. Let's give credit where it's due, and let's give criticism where it's due. But let's not be unfair here. Gabriel's performance was a 9, and people kept saying that, you know, be careful for Wood and be careful for, you know, Barnes, and you're going to get bullied and you're going to get this and that. So then when he's the bully and he's the boss, and really we kept them at bay, even though we soaked up a lot of pressure, I thought too that he was a grown man in a team of boys. And I think that's very well put, name blocked. So let's just give credit where it's due, shall we? All right, Tomiyasu. I have a feeling that he could become a little bit of a cult hero. Did all the right things. He's the exact kind of player that has that Bill Belichick-esquian thing going. Just do your job. The dude does his job, and he does it really well. Doesn't try to be flashy. Doesn't try to overly play. And I just love his tenacity. He doesn't give up. He's got great endurance. He can run for Britain, that one. I mean, you know, also there are times on the ball I think that maybe he needs to be a little bit more assertive and not as wasteful, but I think that will come in time. But in terms of his commitment and the way he started off his Premier League career, and some would argue it's against Norwich and Burnley. I hear you. It's all good. But Burnley really came at us in the second half. I think Norwich were tricky at times. And when you're just stepping into a new league and the pace of it is the complete opposite to what you've been used to, I think he's done really, really well. So, Martin, Tomiyasu just got here, looks like our best right back in a decade. Yeah, and I think I was talking to JJ, James Johnston, on Twitter earlier, and he was talking about he gave him Gabriel, gave him Monreal vibes, which I don't think is too far off the mark. Demsek, 9, Tommy's second game in the league, no mistakes, and gets no recognition. This is the thing. He just gets on with his job. He just does things, you know. And I think that, you know, that goes unnoticed because he's not too flashy. And I think this is exactly what we need. Aerially as well, very good. 8.7. And a couple of you noticing that he was good in the air, 100% commitment. How many crosses did he block today? He's class, 8 out of 10. He was solid. Won all the headers. I remember. I'll give him a 7, says Tengwan. He gets a 9. Monreal-esque, says Andrew Johnson as well. Tommy's no nonsense. He's our Avenger. Man of the match for Rudy. And he's a professional. You could see it. Like, he's a total professional. So I think Tommy Cafu, 9. Love TT's work rate. This is what we need. You know what? Because this is what we've lacked. We've lacked engagement with players from minute 1 to minute 90 and plus added time. This is what we have not had for years. And this is why we've been a really good cup team, because we can laser focus on that game, on that opponent for that one match. But getting players engaged over 38 games in the Premier League, that's going to be a little bit tougher. So Tommy is getting a lot of love. I know he's 22 years old and he seems like he's been around forever. What's idiotic about them, Newman? These players deserve the credit. There are 4 of them today that deserve the credit. And this is exactly what we need to do and build, as a fan base, is get behind these players. And also, these players need to know that we've got their back, right? So, a 9 against Burnley. This is who you're playing, Newman. We played Burnley. We didn't play Man United today. We didn't play Tottenham. We played Burnley. And against Burnley, he shone. He gets a 9 for a lot of people. Let's just stop with this. Just hate on everything just because. Newman gets it. He's a regular. So he knows he can't get away with that kind of crap. But come on. No one's saying that. Look, he still played with the handbrake on today. I was fuming. We should have won that game 4-0. Easy. But we didn't because he's still too conservative. He still won't take the handbrake off. He's still squeezing, everything he can out of that left side. He's not daring enough. But at some point when we're playing against a better opposition, we need to let the handbrake off and let these players express themselves. Look, Burnley got trashed by Everton 3-1. That's because Rafa Benitez took the handbrake off and let his players play. Arteta is still afraid to lose as opposed to going out to win. And I get it. New team. Right now, 3 points are what matter. But we're going to have to start playing a lot better. And, that's just how it is. Okay, the midfield, Thomas Partey, another great game from him. I know everyone's worried about why he went off. And maybe it's precautionary. I don't care if he's going to take him off and rest him because maybe one of his injuries is rattling. That's fine by me. What he does, I think, is clear, you guys. He's absolute mustard in midfield. He wasn't, as I said, as commanding kind of with the forward passing today. But what he does, small passes, small touches, again, with just an imposing player that other players fear. He just has, I think, we haven't seen that midfield excel yet because Arteta refuses to play with speed through the midfield. And I think we do have the players that can do that now. So I hope that trust is going to come at some point because there were times where our build-up play was so good, but then we just became so pedestrian again, right? Just if it was Xhaka passing the ball back today, everyone would have killed him. And there was a lot of sideways and backwards passing. But there was a method to the madness. You could see what the plan was today. But it was a fearful plan against Burnley. But when you haven't really played well against them, at Turf Moor, I understand that precaution. So unfortunately, though, that's going to hinder some players. And it's going to make some players look like they're not playing that great just because of the way that we're deploying that midfield. You can't just play Partey the way we played him today against Spurs. I think we all know that, right? And I'd love to see him and Lokonga start the next game together. And I'd like to see Emile Smith-Rowe on the bench. Let's make him earn it a little bit. And let's see that Lokonga Partey partnership come to fruition. We haven't seen it for 90 minutes yet. Obviously, injuries have hampered that. But I think we're all ready to see that now, are we not? And I don't think it's unfair to say, Emile Smith-Rowe maybe should sit the next one out, rest up a little bit. I would even rest Saka. But Saka, I have a feeling, is going to definitely be part of that North London derby. Right. He should have scored that. Absolutely. And he needs to stay fit. He needs to stay fit. So after we're done with this, go over to the Gooners podcast for the open mic. You guys get to have your say as well. I'm wrong about the handbrakes. Tell me why. You can't say I'm wrong. You got to tell me why. On the next post-game show, I'm going to invite a bunch of you on here as well to have a chat with me too. It'll be a lot more fun. So yes, we will be doing a lot more of that as well. Let's see. Odegaard. Another man of the match for me. Am I wrong to say that he's so much smarter than everybody else? He thinks 2 passes ahead. He thinks ahead of the game. And I think a prime Ozil did that. I think that Santi did that. We haven't had this kind of intelligent player since the Alexis Sanchez, Santi Cazorla, Mesut Ozil days. There's something about him where he just sees things differently to everybody else. And I think there were times where Emile Smith-Rowe and Saka really struggled with that. I think Aubameyang struggled with it. Believe it or not, I felt like Pepe kind of saw it a little bit more, but Pepe's end product, unfortunately, has not been great and is a little bit lackluster. But he was just an exceptionally bright spark. And yes, I agree with you. Absolute class. 8.5, not quite a 9. More comments on Partey as well. I'll throw these out. An 8. Mo was the vice man of the match today. Always interesting comments from Magic. Looking forward to it. Yes, please invite me. The Highbury Squad at gmail.com. The Highbury Squad at gmail.com if you want to come on the show and have a chat with us. Brilliant stuff. Okay, Odegaard, that free kick was absolute gold. Oh, when was the last time we scored a free kick like that? It just felt like it was so refreshing. And when they all three were standing over it, I was just hoping that they'd let Odegaard take a shot at that. His technical ability is really just quite sublime and special. I hope that, you know, he becomes a leader in this team. You could see everyone was really happy for him when he scored the goal as well. He's captain of Norway, he's 22. I mean, he's not even in his prime yet. And there are a lot of people that slammed us re-signing him. And I'm not going to go down that road. But let's just give people a chance. Let's give these players a chance. You know, I'm even willing to, I've said to you, I'm willing to give Arteta a chance with this team and with these players. I mean, I think today we won despite him, not because of him. And I felt the same way at Norwich. So at some point, I'm waiting to see this like genius coaching move that wins us a game, or something he does that's a little bit different that wins us a game. And again, if he wins against the North London rivals and we go 3 wins on the trot and continue a run, I don't think you can really argue with that. But I would like to see us put in a better performance. Richard, please don't let Pepe take, you know, his corners today, just absolute rubbish. I'm not, okay. This is so funny when people say you're flip-flopping. I just call it as I see it, you guys. That's what I do. What do you want me to do? Kill the manager today just because, what do you want me to do? I haven't even gotten to him yet. You know? Here's a surprise for you all.
Hey, Soph! Hold on. I'm trying to sort myself out here. I've just got here.
I need you to Bruk some necks, Kev.
Well, I could only imagine that let me guess. There's a load of people who are unhappy. There's a load of people who aren't happy with certain players. And although we won, it's Burnley.
Yeah.
Am I right?
Pretty much. Although,
well,
okay. Mm-hmm. Yes, pretty much. But I've been talking a lot. I've been talking for like 45 minutes. And I'm so happy that that you managed to jump in, Kev, because I want you to talk about it a little bit. I've said my piece. Here's the crux of the dialogue is, if you're going to criticize Ben White today, you've got to criticize Saka, Emile Smith-Rowe and Aubameyang, who had poor games, maybe Pepe. Odegaard, super class. Thomas Partey, absolute brilliant. Gabriel, a beast and insane. Also, Kieran Tierney, if you're going to criticize Ben White, you got to say, hey, what's up with Kieran? Tomiyasu, fantastic. So, Kev, I'd like you to give us your assessment with what you saw and how you felt like with the team selection and then how everything played out.
Well, I thought the team selection was very brave. It was to put Smith-Rowe, Odegaard, Saka, Pepe and Aubameyang, 5 attacking players on the pitch to be able to not only counter, but hurt them when we've got the ball. That was the key. One holding midfielder like we did at Manchester City, but the difference was it's Thomas Partey as opposed to Granit Xhaka. The top end of the pitch was awful, let's be honest. We couldn't string two passes together, significant passes at that end, although Odegaard kind of controlled the tempo of our game. I still think we're getting to learn him a little bit more. We're a bit static. We don't get moving. We don't run enough off the ball when he's got the ball to make his mind up. I think that's very difficult. But do you know what we've got to do, Sophie? I know it's only Burnley, so people say, but at home they are very difficult to play against. It's different when they're away, but when they're at home, you've got the crowd. They play a direct style, and I'll be honest with you, RM, I don't agree. Ben White, what a disaster! I honestly think he's just getting to learn his surroundings. It's not easy coming to Arsenal, but I didn't think he was a disaster at all. I didn't.
Kev, do you know why I think people are saying this? Remember we had that conversation earlier in the week where we said because of the Saliba situation, it can't be Ben White's problem. We can't push that on Ben White. So if he has like an average game, it can't be the narrative is about Saliba, Kev. And I agree with you. I don't think he had a great game, but I don't think he was this disaster.
If he was a disaster, they win. Because you can't carry, for a team to get a clean sheet in the Premier League, you cannot carry anybody. Do you know, I saw great defending when, you know, where the ball got whipped in and Wood got in ahead of him and he put his body on the line and he put his body into him, so he headed it over. That is great defending.
Yes.
That is great defending. A hat trick for the defence is a clean sheet, Sophie. We got a clean sheet. We won the game 1-0. We weren't at our best. Nowhere near our best. I agree. But to get another clean sheet, 1-0 to the Arsenal. Do you know what? I'll take another two of them before the... I'll take another two of them in the league before the international break. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
You know, maybe we're not playing well, but I'll take the 1-0s.
Because here's the scoop for me, you know, when people say, oh, now you're flip-flopping. No, I mean, we won a tough game at Burnley where we don't really do well. And were there some good performances? 100%. Were there some poor performances? 100%. But there might come a game, Kev, where Ben White bails out Gabriel or Tierney or Tomiyasu or Ramsdale. It just so happened today that Ramsdale and Gabriel bailed out White. And Tomiyasu had another really solid game. Looks like a really good professional. I was just saying earlier, Kev, someone who just does his job. You don't notice anything because he just plays proper football and does his job, which I think you would agree with where he's concerned.
Here's what I'm gonna say to you. You know, we were talking earlier on in the transfer window where we were saying there's a big gap in our team at that right back spot. There ain't no gap no more. He's a practical player who does his job. That's what he does. He does his job. He's competitive. He's fit. And he doesn't like to lose. I'll take a few more of them if you don't mind, Sophie.
Yes.
I think he's doing a... Look, he's only young as well, Sophie. So we've got him for a good amount of time. He's still learning the Premier League. But you know what? We've seen many new defenders go to Burnley and go, I don't fancy this. But he fancied it, and he's up against McNeil, who's a really good player. And I thought Tomiyasu done well today.
Yeah, I thought so too. And Kev, I wanted to get your take because I've been raving about Odegaard. And today I thought, you know, along with Gabriel, Ramsdale, they were really the shining stars and men of the match. That free kick is just an example of what he can do. You saw him, covered him when you were doing your Facebook project at Real Sociedad, where you said to me, Sophie, I'm not being funny, he's one of the better players in the league. And seeing him play for Real Sociedad, I'm so excited about what he can bring to the table. He has something that we haven't seen in a long time, Kev. But I WhatsApped you and I said, Kev, he's like 2 ahead of everybody else. 2 passes, 2 moves. Can you talk me through that a little bit when you've played with uber smart plays like that and then the other players needing to catch up? Because it felt like they were all a little bit slow to his train of thought today.
Yeah, it looked a bit static for us, Sophie. And what I mean by static is when he gets the ball, that's when people are starting to think, okay, maybe I have to move. But no, actually, when you know he's going to get the ball, that's when you're supposed to be on the move. So as he gets his head up, you're moving so he can do it. It's that quick thinking, that quick movement that catches teams like Burnley out. But we were a little bit too static. Do you know, I saw Auba make some moves today and didn't get the ball. And I know Auba didn't have a great game or whatever. But sometimes you've got to feed him. You've got to get the ball over to him. So Odegaard's the man for me. He is such a smart player. He controls it. And him and Partey have an understanding because Partey likes to get it into him because Partey knows he can take care of the ball. It's really important.
Yeah. So, Kev, do you think that, for example, in this particular game with the way Odegaard was playing, are we better suited to have Laka at that as that focal number 9 and Auba to the left, like in situation? Because in the second half we got run over quite a bit and there was no holding the ball up, and it just seemed like every ball that was being played in that final third, like you said, was just missed. Yes, and then coming back.
Kept coming back. And I think when Odegaard's there, not necessarily you need Saka because Odegaard is that link close to the forwards. So he's the one who's controlling the ball. What you need is movement ahead of him. But if you're then going to change it, so then you bring Laka on and then you move Aubameyang wide because Aubameyang thrives from the left. It's very difficult to pick up from the left-hand side. And Odegaard could see that pass. But for whatever reason, obviously, it didn't quite materialize today. But that is something that may happen against Spurs. Because, you know, when you play against the so-called better sides, they take risks. Burnley weren't really taking a risk to start with. When they were getting desperate, then they start throwing men forward. But against the so-called better sides, they empty because they want to catch you. That's when you can catch them. It's a game of cat and mouse. So I truly believe, look, we're not even really got going yet. We haven't got going. But 1-0 against Norwich, I'll take it. 1-0 against Burnley, I'll take it. Going into the cup game and then the North London derby, Sophie, if we could win in midweek and going in with 3 wins under our belt, we'll be a little bit more confident, I'm sure, as a team.
I completely agree with you. Going into that North London derby with the with 6 points versus what we may have feared like just 2 or 3 makes all the difference. They play Chelsea tomorrow too, Kev. That's not going to be an easy game for them. Let me ask you again. Today's game, it felt like the midfield selection. Did it worry you at all when you saw how he set the midfield up? Because a lot of the time fans thought that Thomas Partey would be like the lone man. But would you argue that maybe Odegaard is going to play more of a number 8 role for us this season, Kev, as opposed to the 10?
Well, it depends. It depends, obviously, on the personnel. We were saying, Sophie, that we wanted to see Partey and Sambi play together. But for me, what the thinking was today was we are going to get good possession of the ball. And I want to be able to use Smith Rowe, Saka, Pepe, and Odegaard ahead of Thomas Partey. They're going to actually help Thomas Partey because you know why? If we're controlling the ball, Thomas Partey doesn't have to do a lot of running around. He could sit in that midfield and be the protector. But we just weren't good enough at that end of the pitch. Although we kept the ball okay at times. You know, we got the 3 points. You go to Burnley, you get the 3 points, great. But we need to do more at the top end of the pitch because we won't be able to survive like this against some of the better teams. So, you take it for what it is today. It's a 1-0 win away, and we go from there.
Definitely. Right. I'm going to get your ratings real quick so you can come up to speed with where I was at. Ramsdale, your rating for Ramsdale.
I'll give Ramsdale a 9 today. I thought he was immense today. I thought it was really good. Totally. And we discussed it yesterday. Him coming out for crosses and taking all the pressure off makes, as opposed to punching it, because Leno likes to punch it, he comes and claims it. Makes a massive difference, kills Burnley because they don't get any second balls. They don't get any chance to build other attacks. So I thought Ramsdale was really good.
Cool. Tierney?
Tierney, I'm going to give him a 6. I thought he started off okay, and I'm not so sure whether he's carrying a knock or whatever. I'm not sure, but he weren't great today, but he still was up and down that left-hand side, especially first half. So I'm going to give him a 6.
Agree. Ben White.
Ben White, I'm going to give him a 6 as well. I think a lot of people are being harsh. And what we kept hearing, Sophie, was he's not good in the air. We're going to get murdered in the air against Burnley. We didn't. And Ben White was okay. He was okay. He wasn't great. He was okay. And you know what? They got a clean sheet. So that's a big tick in the box. When you're not playing really well and you're getting a clean sheet, Sophie, as a defender, we're moving in the right direction.
Yep, I agree. Gabriel?
I'll give him a 9.5, Sophie, if I'm honest with you. I thought he really is a difference maker. Perfect game for him against Wood. Physicality, strong, quick. He made another one of those goal-saving challenges in the first half, didn't he? Where I think who was it? Barnes was just about to pull the trigger, and he took it off his toe. And Tomiyasu, I don't know if you saw Tomiyasu getting in as well from the other side, which it was good to see 2 players putting their body on the line. It really was. I just think Gabriel, when he's not there, we miss him desperately. He's that centre half we've been craving for years.
I said he's easily become our most important player at the back. He's the bully that we've needed, and that's a great thing to see. Kev, what about Tomiyasu?
Tommy Gunn. Do you know what I'm going to give him? I'm going to give him an 8, and I tell you why I'm going to give him an 8. Because playing against McNeil is not easy, because he's one of these players. He doesn't need to outdo you with speed. He's a clever player. He knows how to play in between the lines. And I thought Tomiyasu played him really well. Tomiyasu's a good defender, and he's solid in only his 2nd game. Welcome to the Premier League, Tomiyasu. We're going to Burnley, but he came through it with flying colours, I thought so, and a clean sheet, which was really good.
Excellent stuff. How about Thomas Partey?
I'm going to give Thomas Partey an 8 as well. I just think he's so essential to what we do. He didn't really have the passes that could cut Burnley open, solely because Burnley played quite narrow in there. But he's such a good footballer, such a clever footballer for what we're doing. And, there's a lot of people who worry he's the only one in midfield. And it's his first start of the season. So I think he got taken off because it was his first game. I really do. And
I don't think, and rightly so, at that
protect him. Yeah.
I know you spoke about Odegaard. I'd love his mark. This is what Mikel Arteta said. He took responsibility. I'm delighted to have him, not only for what he gives with the ball and the talent that he has, but as well, he's a real leader and an example without the ball. I see him being our captain. You said that you called this a little while ago, Kev. What's your mark for Odegaard?
Odegaard, you know what? I'm going to give him a 9. And it might sound a bit harsh because the free kick was special. But I just think this is a game where we really needed Gabriel to be Gabriel. We really did. And quell a lot of the good play that Burnley do. And, him battling Wood and Barnes most of the day was important to us. So I just think Gabriel shades it, but Odegaard was a 9 for me. Very good, very clever, very smart. Great free kick goal. And you could see it meant something to him when he scored. It really did. So, again, I still don't think we're seeing the best of these players yet. I know we didn't play that well, but certain individuals did. But I'd like to see us go on a run. Get a good run under our belt. Get the confidence going through this team. And let's see what we can do. But Odegaard, at 22, he's captain of his country. And he's not captain of his country for anything other than he's a smart player, he's a solid player, he's a good professional, and he's reliable.
Yeah. And I like what Archangel says here too, his humility. He's just one of those good guys as well. So, all right, Kev, how about Saka? And we'll go to Saka, Smith Rowe next, and Pepe.
I thought Saka was a 5 today. I thought he was just par. Weren't great. Tried and worked hard, but nothing seemed to come off for him, to be honest, Sophie. So I'm not, listen, I can be critical and say at the top end of the pitch, we said it yesterday, Sophie, I want to start seeing goals or production assists from Saka. That's the name of the game now. And yeah, maybe he is feeling the effects of the Euros. Welcome to top level football. This is what this is top level football now. You do not get the opportunity to be tired, but I'm sure if he is feeling it, I'm sure the manager would put him to rest a bit and somebody else would come in. So I'll give Saka a 5.
And Emil Smith Rowe.
Emil Smith Rowe, I'm gonna give a 6 to Emil Smith Rowe. A little bit harder in there because he's got to get back and dig in. I thought he'd done that pretty well. Didn't really have much production going forward. But against Burnley, you do have to put your foot in. You do have to get about the Burnley midfield. And I thought he'd done okay on that sense. But the production at the top end is where we really see Smith Rowe. And we didn't see that today. So I'll give him a 6.
And he had another good chance to score a goal, Kev. And didn't take it.
Yeah.
All right, Pepe.
Pepe, I thought Pepe was disappointing. I give Pepe a 5 because I think he's got so much in the locker, so he has got so much ability, but it's to get it out consistently. We don't see it. So didn't have a great game. Set up a chance for Smith Rowe, who's knocked it over the bar. But hey, I'll give them 5s. They're just par today.
Yeah, I thought they were really poor. I said my piece at the top. This is all about getting Super Kevs. I haven't marked Aubameyang yet, but he too gets a 5 for me, Kev. The opposite of what we saw against Norwich. Did not have the same tenacity and drive and energy and tracking back, and just felt like today was one of those apathetic games for him where he wasn't really tuned in. What's your thought?
I think that can happen against a Burnley where it's a bit of a scruffy game. It's not a neat and tidy game. It's a bit of a scruffy game. And there ain't a lot of opportunities. There ain't a lot of chances. There's a lot of balls getting played up high, which their defenders are going to eat. And it was just one of those days where, you've got to keep battling and keep trying. And listen, at the end of the day, for me, I think Aubameyang got no service today. Absolutely no service. But he did try. He wasn't like he played at the Emirates last week, where at home, we've got a home crowd there. A bit different. But I think he did try, so that's why I'll give him a 5.
Okay, cool. And then the subs we can do all in one go. No doubt about that. Let's see. How about we start off with Sambi?
Yeah, I'm going to
start with all. How about you just talk me through all the subs? Sambi, Maitland-Niles, Tavares. Let me know what you think.
Yeah, I thought they came on and made a bit of a difference. They put some energy into us, and I think that was probably Mikel Arteta's fault before the game, where Thomas Partey is going to start, but I've got Sambi to come on, because what we need when Thomas Partey goes off, when he's somebody with energy, who's going to win a lot of those aerial balls, who's going to be good in possession. That's the other key. Because if he plays the game and then he's tired, that's when they could zero in on him. But I thought he done well. I thought Tavares done excellent when he came on, and I thought Maitland-Niles was neat and tidy. I saw him connecting with Sambi, playing 1-2s in that midfield, playing around them and springing us on a few breaks, which we couldn't do nothing with because we weren't good enough at the top end of the pitch. So I'm going to give them a 6. I thought they came on and they helped us. They really did. So I'll give them all a 6.
Isn't it also quite nice, Kev, that now when we bring subs on, they can have an effect, as opposed to desperately trying to bring players on that, you know, if a player's exhausted, you have no choice kind of substitutions. Whereas now they're much more thoughtful and calculated, which obviously is helping the manager as well, Kev. And you still had Lacazette and Martinelli and, you know.
Well, here's the thing, you see, Soph. All of a sudden, our bench is a bit stronger. You're not bringing on weak sauce. You're not bringing on players who you're not sure of. I know Tavares is coming off for Tierney. He's still got a bit to prove. But he looks
hungry,
shown,
Kev. He looks hungry.
No, but what I'm saying is he's shown that he's hungry for it. He wants to do it. That'll do me, so I'm telling you. You know, that practical part where he wants to do it, not can he do it? Yeah, he's shown that he can, but he wants to do it. Sambi wants to get on the ball. Sambi's not afraid of putting his foot in, putting his head in. Maitland-Niles got an opportunity in the midfield today, so came on and was in there using his athleticism, was decent on the ball, wasn't giving it away cheaply today. So, you know, it's a big tick. Another day, we might need Gabriel, Martinelli and Lacazette to come on and make a difference. We've got the options.
Right, exactly. And just so you know, Mitral, I put these up. I talked through these earlier before Kev came on. You wanted some stats. Possession, 56% for us. 522 passes. Pass accuracy, 80%. 8 fouls conceded, 1 yellow card. 13 shots and 3 of those on target. Like Kev said many times, it really is the area that we need to strengthen in. Yeah, absolutely. What about the coach, Kev? How did he do today?
Well, look, I thought the coach set us up to be attacking. But like I've said previously, you can set up to be as attacking as you want. So the opposition sometimes determine how attacking you can be. And to be fair, Burnley, they set their stall out. They are not going to play through us, especially first half. They are not going to play through us. And they kept a tight 4-4 and didn't let us cut through them. They could let Tierney go down the side, no problem, and put a cross in, because they know we're not going to beat them in the air, you see. That's why they let people go down wide. But we did adjust. We got a great goal. And again, the manager made the changes. He brought players on who could add a little bit of energy to us. Problem was we just weren't good enough at the top end of the pitch. So I don't think whoever he brought on, it was happening for us today. But the one thing I do like is he made sure we won that game. That's what he made sure. We made the changes in the midfield and at fullback, and we made sure we won that game. Clean sheet, big tick in the box. So I think Arteta gets a 7 today. You know, difficult place to go. A lot of people thought we weren't going to get anything from this game, but we ended up winning the game. Good performances from some of the defenders and the goalkeeper. So I'll give him a 7.
Yeah, I think the biggest fear coming out of chat, and we'll get you guys out on this one. Thanks so much. Over 700 of you in live chat joining us. Kev, I've told them
Like
earlier.
button, hit it, not it. Come on, boys. Lick it, kiss it. Hit it like Vinny does.
Kev bringing the energy today,
Yeah,
no doubt
man.
about
Hit
that.
it.
And if you
Sophie,
don't hit it, he'll do this.
Yeah, you're going to get Bruk. You know what, Sophie? Listen, we can dissect it all we like. It feels a lot better winning at a weekend than losing, doesn't it?
Oh my gosh. I tell you,
So
listen,
people.
I give him a 6, and here's why. I think he was brave to pick the team that he did, but it's the best team. So how brave is it really? When really that's the best team. Maybe I would have Sambi on instead of Emile Smith-Rowe. He made decent subs, and he made them at a better time in this game, Kev. But we've got to be more prolific going forward. We've got to start converting these chances. Look at all these passes, look at the chances, and look at our ratio. 29 chances against Norwich, we got 1 lucky goal. 13 today, 3 on target. Those are the areas that really now need to improve, especially as coming up, we've got much bigger, harder teams to be playing against, Kev. I think we agree on that, right? That is how we have to start progressing.
Yeah.
But to start somewhere, Kev, we were zeroed out, 0-0-0. And now, we've got, I'm not smoking anything. I'm just saying a win is a win, Osteoman. And we won and we got 3 points. But now it's going to have to be a little bit about performance as well, Kev, a little bit about performance. And I've got no agenda. I'm giving him a 6 based on the reasons I've said. You can't have Aubameyang, Saka, Pepe, Odegaard, Emile Smith-Rowe, as your forward line against Burnley and not bury that game 3-0 and take the pressure and the heat off the back line, especially, Kev. We've got to improve there.
Yeah, this game is a confidence game, Soph. And although we won last week, it would help our confidence. We're not quite there yet, as you could see at the top end of the pitch. We're not. And it's going to take a little bit of time. And I know people don't want to hear that, but it's going to take a little bit of time. The key to what we do is not conceding. Mm-hmm. If you don't concede,
that's huge.
If you don't concede, you're always in the game. Our problem has been we've been conceding too many goals, in the first 3 games, and we're out the game. We're out the game. So the fact of the matter is, we've got this back 5 now, looking a lot more solid. We've got Partey back, didn't finish the game, but he played 70 minutes or whatever today. He'll be fine for Spurs next week. And we're looking a lot more solid. We need them boys this week, we need them boys on the training pitch working on when Odegaard gets the ball, get moving. Get moving.
Yeah, agree. Totally agree. Right, Kev, let's get on this one. The biggest fear is that Arteta will revert to Leno or Xhaka against Spurs. I absolutely think 100% he will not revert to Leno. I do fear the Xhaka thing. Do you? I just don't see how he can do that at this point. What's your thought while we close the show?
Well, I truly believe Leno is not the number 1 now. He is not the number 1. I think Ramsdale is the number 1. I think Leno plays against Wimbledon in the week. Ramsdale comes back for Spurs. And as for Xhaka, I think he's on the bench now because Sandy hasn't even had the opportunity to play with Xhaka in that midfield. And we were hoping for the 2 games, Norwich and Burnley, that they would get to play together so it'd be the end of Xhaka. But the fact of the matter is, Xhaka can't come all the way from behind from COVID and then go past Sambi, leave Sambi on the bench and get in the team. Or Maitland-Niles. No. He sits on the bench. That's if he makes the bench. Depending on how we play.
Yeah, absolutely. I think he will have everyone behind him if he makes those right choices. And I am giving him a chance. I was happy when we beat Norwich last week. I was happy when we've beaten Burnley today. Just a little disappointed that once again we haven't been cutthroat up front, and our passing in the final third is a bit poor. I think those are the things that we need to work on. And no, Mikel Arteta can't get someone finishing their dinner in front of goal, but if we're going to give him credit for how we're playing better at the back and through and in midfield, then he needs to work on that front line for sure. And I think he's going to have tough decisions to make, Kev. I would play Laka against Tottenham. I'd push Auba on the left, and I would sit Saka and I would sit Emile Smith-Rowe. Maybe give them the opportunity to come on as super subs in those games. So also VAR did us good today, Kev. That was not a penalty. And thankfully, that decision went for us, which was also nice to see and get the rub of the green. Woo!
Isn't it? So, isn't it about time we got a decision? Because that VAR has been it's been a pain in my Harris, to be honest with you, pain in my arse. Right? It's been a pain, but the right decision was made because it wasn't a penalty. And we keep our clean sheet. And you know what? I'm going to say fair play to the team today, because it's not easy battling away at Burnley. Kept a clean sheet. Some not so good performances, but all the lads tried and worked hard. So do you know what? Give me a couple more 1-0, Soph. I'll take it for now.
I will. I'll take a 1-0 against the Spuds all day long. I would take a 1-0. To the Arsenal, just so we can sing it in their stadium. It's been a while.
Yes, very much so. Very much so. I'd love it too. I'd love that.
Oh, my goodness. Okay, look, we were lucky, yes, with the decision. No, it was the right decision. And Ben White owes Ramsdale a drink tonight. Sorry, a bit tired from travelling. Haven't gone too supersonic today, but you know what? We got 3 points. We beat Burnley at Turf Moor. People thought they would bully us. Gabriel bullied them. A wonder goal from Odegaard. Some great saves from Ramsdale. Totally bailed his pal out, Ben White. We saw Thomas Partey come back and have a really good game. Some issues, yes, with Emile Smith-Rowe and Saka and Pepe. Pepe, I think, worked hard going back, needs to do the same when he's got the ball at his feet, Kev. And Tomiyasu is proving to be a solid buy so far. So I will let you close the show. We'll be back on Monday with Monday Madness, where we get stuck into this a little bit more. And the Tuesday-ish Club will also feature not only Super Kev and David Hillier, but we're going to bring Ian Selly into the mix as well, Kev.
No, it won't.
That's right. You're not here on Tuesday, but they will be.
Yeah, I'm not here.
Well, we're going to get a video. We're going to get a video message for you, from you for Tuesday.
Yeah, me, definitely.
There's still 700 in live chat, Kev. They don't want us to go away.
Well, where are we going? Have we got 5 more minutes?
It's all yours. The 5 minutes are yours.
So here's what I wanna say to some of the Arsenal fans, because I think it's really important. Before this game, a lot of people never gave us an opportunity to say we can go there and win. It's Burnley. We know the physicality is the team. We've got new players in the team. Are they going to be up for the battle? Sophie, I saw a team that was up for the battle today. And, I say it's the players when they cross that white line. I saw them cross that white line today, and I know they weren't all playing great, but I saw a team that was up for the battle. That is so important, Soph. Because if you can battle Burnley away, you should be able to battle anybody. Battling should not be a problem for us now, as long as these same players are there. Because we've seen with our other players, when the battle gets at its hottest, they're at their worst.
It's too much.
Yeah,
it's too much.
Worst. So I'd like some comments from the squaddies, to be honest, of what they thought about our battling qualities. Because Saying people's had a bad game. I thought Ben White battled Barnes and Wood pretty well at the back. I thought Tomiyasu battled. I thought Gabriel, he bullied them. And I thought Tierney did, and Cavaj done really well when he came on as well. So that battling, Partey in the midfield battling, Maitland-Niles and Sambi, when they came on, that battle, we had that battle in us. I just want to know their thoughts on that.
So Mikey says that we've been missing this for so long. And Samuel says, well, it's moving so fast. We finally show some character, says Osman. Yes. Mustafa says defensively we were 100%, guys. Goonalicious, thank you, Sophie Kev. Yes, you're welcome. No worries. GB says White didn't shy away from the light when Barnes, Barnes, but he was still bullied. Yeah.
He didn't shy away from the fight.
But at least he kept going back in. He wasn't on his game, but he didn't shy away from putting, like you said, that challenge where he didn't get his head to the ball, but because he was right there on the player and he kind of gave him a little nudge, the ball went over, Kev. And as sometimes you don't have to win all the duels, but if you put yourself in the mix, to challenge and just put the striker off, then that has a lot to do with that.
Yeah, so that's his job. His job is to not make the striker get it easy.
Yeah.
Because you can't win everything. Nobody can. But you know what? When they do get in a position, you put your body on the line so they miss. And that's what he done. Well done, Ben White, for that. I know you didn't play great, but you still competed, which is sometimes that's all we could ask.
Gigi Guna says, we've seen our team chuck the towel in too easily for seasons. For me, battling is a bare minimum. We definitely had it today, although still a doubt over our captain in that department. It's true. He's got to be more consistent. Javier says to you, we've got Tommy Gun and the drum clip locked and loaded, and Gabriel, the warrior, cancelling out Wood. Bring Kane and Son. Tom and Gabriel are ready to fight. I mean, when you see players like that, Kev, Anik says back four and Odegaard all led by example today. Our reputation of being weak needs to be quashed.
Big time.
I think we got a few more games to prove that. But Christoph says exactly. Simple combativeness. Captain Gabriel is needed. Tech and tactics only go so far. Win 50-50 balls. TT throwing himself in front of balls. The intangible of combativeness needs to grow. 100%.
Big time, Christoph. Big time.
Yep. Harlech says everyone showed the fight today, never lost their nerves. At least those out of the team like Xhaka can see the energy. This is what it's all about. Lee says top class, guys. I'm loving your confidence. We didn't get bullied at Burnley today. Come on, you Gooners. And this is part of it. I didn't feel ashamed today because we fought. This is what we didn't have against Brentford.
Exactly, so. Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Yep.
Do you reckon Tony could do what he done to Mari and White with Gabriel there? You must be joking. No. It's a different kettle of fish. But what that does, that makes the whole back four better because you've got I saw Gabriel shouting his head off. I saw Ramsdale shouting his head off. I've not seen that in a long time from our centre back.
I love it, Kev. Every time there's a picture, the camera goes to Ramsdale, he's yelling at someone. I absolutely love it. And this team needs to stay healthy, but pretty much everyone, agrees with you on the comment. Kev. Stefan says Gabriel putting his head where others would put their foot. I mean, he's endeared himself. I know there's a lot of you screaming for him to be captain, guys. I don't want him to have that type of pressure. I just want him to be the boss at the back. Let someone like Odegaard become captain if it's not going to work out with Auba and stuff like that. But we all want Aubameyang kind of. Imagine if he's scoring, if he's the Aubameyang of the FA Cup winning season and the prior season, Kev. And he's scoring goals like that. I mean, we're climbing up the table, Kev.
And you know what? So we need Aubameyang now, but we need Aubameyang for the season because we know there's tougher tests and tougher tasks ahead. Do you know when we need Aubameyang to show up? Next week.
Yes.
We needed him today. We didn't really see him, but we got over the line. North London derby is when we need him. He missed that one at the Emirates for whatever reasons, didn't he? You know, he was late and all that. He owes us one now.
Oh, yeah.
He owes us one. Come on, Aubameyang. It's your time. Definitely your time.
All right. Brilliant stuff. We've given you a radio-style 1 hour and a half show post-game against Burnley today. Another 3 points, some positives to move on from, and let's hope we can carry this through in our next 2 games as well. Another 2 biggies coming up. We will both be back on Monday with the Monday Madness show, so look out for that. As I said, we've got Hillier and Selly coming on next week. We have Adam Catterall coming on from TalkSport. We got Kevin Says back. We're going to have our premiere episode of Talented Gooners. And we have lots of other premieres for you too, including Get Off the Potsy with Dan Potts from Lee Judges TV. As you can imagine, that will be a very good one. Kev, it's over to you to close things up for us.
Well, Sophie, just like you said at the start, we got the points, but there are still a lot of things to work on, especially at the top end of the pitch. Yeah, it's not perfect, but you know what? Getting a win and having a nice weekend now, everyone, is wonderful, isn't it? Better than a defeat. Squaddies, always lovely liaising with you, dealing with you. And I saw Sophie had to bring the samurai out a couple of times, and she even put my Bruk the neck on. So there you go. But Squaddies, you know what comes next? I salute you and have a lovely weekend and at ease.
Mind the gap between the train and the platform. Please stand clear of the discussion doors. The next stop is Highbury Squad.